Hey there YouTube, Classic Reviewer here with my first top 10 video. Today I'll be making a top 10 on my all-time favorite action movies that I've seen over the years. So I'll be starting from number 10 and working my way to number 1. Number 1 being obviously my top pick of action movies. So yeah, before I get into the video, hope you guys are having a good day, having a good week, generally having a good time with whatever you're doing. Hope whatever ventures you're into or things that you're doing go really well and that you're having a basically hope you guys are having a good time. So at number 10, it's going to be the original black and white version of Dunkirk, I believe. Yeah, so this is a 1950s movie. 1958 it came out. It shows more of the lead up to the Battle of Dunkirk, something that's missed out with the newer version of Dunkirk. It just starts them on the beach and just focuses on the how the Allied forces escape from France rather than the build-up. This version basically starts from the British troops going into France trying to retake it, subsequently fighting the Nazis and getting surrounded by them, and then being forced to retreat back to the UK with French survivors. Next up is at number 9 is movie 300. This was an okay action movie, very problem with this movie is it loves its slow-mo a bit too much. Its story is okay. It is, but realistically it just suffers from way too much slow motion and over-the-top CGI, and that's why that's at number 9. At number 8 is another classic, the original Ben-Hur movie. I have seen both the remake and the original, obviously. And you can obviously guess I prefer this one over the remake because it's in the top 10 video and the remake isn't. I mean, personally, there's aspects from both these movies from both the original and the remake that I prefer more in their particular movie than the other one, but at the end of the day, the original Ben-Hur is it's better in my opinion than, the remake. But the remake, it's still a good movie. It's still worth the watch. It is. That's at number 7. At number 6 is Gladiator with Russell Crowe. This movie is a really well-aged movie. Also, Joaquin Phoenix up there. He was really good. And yeah, it's just a really well-done movie. Alright, next up, number 6, we have Hacksaw Ridge. Love this movie. One of the best modern take on World War II movie, should I say. Yep, so got, of course you have Teresa Palmer here, amazing actress, this one. Who else is in there? Andrew Garfield, of course. Oh yeah, Matt Damon appears in it. That's right. He's not on here, and yeah, it's just a really well done, well made movie. I love it a lot. Alright, so next up at track. Number 5 is To Catch a Thief with Cary Grant and Grace Kelly, also known as Princess of Monaco. This was one of the first Alfred Hitchcock movies I've watched. The first one ever was, of course, Psycho, but this was one of the first ones. I really love both Cary Grant and Grace Kelly in this. To be honest with you, like, really, it's just one of those movies that could have been like James Bond or Mission Impossible, but just wasn't because it was made before that time. It's really good movie, and it's just aged really well. Speaking of which, another Alfred Hitchcock movie, North by Northwest, with Cary Grant again, in a similar role to that of James Bond, though I feel like this is the movie that could have been his take on James Bond. Like, if you look at it properly. Like, there are so many scenes in this movie that are essentially like James Bond scenes, which isn't surprising considering that James Bond was based upon that kind of characteristic that Cary Grant portrays in North by Northwest. So, of course, number 3 is Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. This is probably, well, not probably, it is the best Indiana Jones movie. Next up would be Last Crusade, then Temple of Doom, and then, of course, movie not many Indiana Jones fans talk about, Crystal Skull. This movie, besides being the movie that set the stage for the Indiana Jones series, it's just really fun and really entertaining, really funny, and just, you know, it's not just all serious stuff. Harrison Ford just, I don't know, like, he just makes it so much funnier just by being in the movie. Alright, so next up is, of course, Hunt for the Red October. Here, Sean Connery is one of Sean Connery's best performances in a movie. It is, those of you that don't know what it's about, it's basically Sean Connery being this Russian submarine commander that wants to defect to the American side. He wants to basically retire and live in America, and it's based off a Cold War myth of a submarine going missing off the coast of America. And they do show that scene in the movie. It is, even though, like, the movie itself doesn't tie in too much to that myth, but, you know, they do have a scene paying homage to it. And at number 1 is something that I have mentioned a lot in this video, is, of course, James Bond. Well, not my personal favourite, but Goldeneye is definitely Pierce Brosnan's best performance in a Bond movie. I love all his performances. So, yeah, it's just such James Bond movie. And to be honest with you, like, personally for me, Goldeneye is one of the closest movies to Sean Connery's performance as James Bond, to be honest, because Sean Connery was always the ladies' man of Bond, and then Roger Moore was more of the gentleman, like older gentleman kind of Bond, and then George Lazenby does go more with the Roger Moore kind of like older gentleman style. And then from what I've seen of Timothy Dalton, he's more of the dark brooding kind of Bond, and then Pierce Brosnan is of course the action packed guns blazing Bond, and then Daniel Craig is more of the brutal style Bond. He's obviously like he's been through a lot of stuff, and it's starting to wear him down, starting to affect him more so than the other Bonds, which is something that I personally like for the Daniel Craig Bond, because he's not, because he's having to deal with these conflicting emotions of having to do the job but always getting someone he cares about killed or something like that. Like, it just adds a lot more to his character, something you don't really see too much in the other James Bond movies. Anyways, that's my top 10 action movies. I'll just quickly run through them again. Number 10, original 1958 Dunkirk. 9 is 300, the original 300 movie. Next up is the original Ben-Hur movie. Number 8. Number 7 is Russell Crowe's Gladiator. Number 6 is Hacksaw Ridge with Andrew Garfield. Number 5 is To Catch a Thief, Cary Grant, Grace Kelly. Number 4, Alfred Hitchcock's North by Northwest with Cary Grant. Number 3, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Harrison Ford. Number 2 is Hunt for the Red October with Sean Connery. Number 5 is 007 Goldeneye with Pierce Brosnan. And yeah, that's it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, leave a like, comment any thoughts down below. Let me know what are your favorite action movies. Did you agree with the list? Did you not? Feel free to leave below. And if you especially enjoyed today's video or any of my other content, feel free to subscribe. It really means a lot to me, and it just helps out so much. So that's it for today's video. Hope you guys are doing really well, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.